Is Benjamin Goodson, and today I'm going to be introducing and telling you about the importance of putting driver's ed education courses back into high school. Because for me, I took a driver's ed class whenever I was, um, it was after I finished high school for the most part. I took it during the summer, and I took it at a private company, and it cost me about $300 to do. But I don't think I got as good of an experience as I would have if it was a mandatory class to take in my high school. So with this, I'm going to be using multiple different sources to help highlight um, this crucial topic that I'm going to be giving to you. So without further ado, I could just sit here and talk to you about it. I could tell you all that I know about it, but I think I'm going to let this fact speak for me. So the first question that I'm gonna ask is, why are most of the driver's ed classes or courses being taken out of the schools? So the main reason that I found whenever I was doing research was that it was because of money. WordPress.com says demands for reducing costs led states to cut their subsidies for driver's education teachers and programs. So that is kind of like one of the big reasons that they did it, but I think this second part is kind of why they wanted to start cutting funds. So another different thing that I was learning, it was from the same source that they kind of were talking about, were that they didn't want to have the driver's ed classes anymore because high school was getting complicated with all the other requirements that they needed to graduate in order to go to like college. So that's another one of the big reasons. So the second question I wanted to kind of put out there was, why is driver's ed important? I mean, you can answer that question with a lot of different things. For example, driveredinabox.com says driving education courses teach drivers judgment, common sense, and defensive driving. Those things are really important to know because defensive driving is a good way to, not get in a wreck or, not get yourself too badly hurt if you're in a wreck. You just gotta, be very vigilant. And those are all things that were taught to me in my class. Another thing is allstardrivereducation.com. They're talking about how driver's ed courses don't only teach you those things, but they also teach you things like mechanical knowledge. So, like changing a tire, checking your oil, stuff like that. My course that I took did not teach that stuff, but it was through a private thing, so they didn't necessarily have to follow everything. They just had to do the minimum. Another good thing to look at is some data on like wrecks and stuff. So, LiveviewGPS.com says that 91% or 9 out of 10 teen driver crashes were teen drivers that did not take a driver's education class. So, who's to say that those people would not have, gotten into those wrecks if they took the class? And even more than that, the CDC says that motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death among teens nowadays. So why are they? Another question to like kind of think about is, why are they wanting you to, go about everything and not take this class, or why are they not having it in schools so you don't take it, whenever just putting the class in schools could save people's lives? So that's another big point that I'm making here. So one of the big things that lead to some of these things, as an example, teendriversource.org says most teen driver crashes are due to critical errors like lack of scanning, speeding, and distractions. In my class that I took, it went over every single one of these, and it really gave you an understanding of what it's like or what it means to be distracted. Like, it's kind of crazy to think of stuff that you don't even, necessarily, like, that's just a normal thing people do, is a distraction. It can get people killed or yourself killed. So that's another big reason it's important to take the class. There's other issues as well. That For example, the Washington Post says that in Washington D.C., I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. This is in Washington D.C., but I think it's kind of valid for everywhere. They say, according to Federal Highway Administration, only 449 teenagers in the district had D.C. driver's license in 2014. That's a little bit old, like of numbers, but they're talking about how teenagers now are waiting until they're like in their 20s or until they're after the age of, where you have to meet all these requirements and have to have all this training. They're waiting until after that time to get their license. And whenever I look at that, that seems like it's a really dangerous thing to do because they're just going into it now and just pretty much guessing on like a test or something. They're guessing on like the written test for the most part, and then they're just, just passing the driver's test. So they're going out into the world without this knowledge, which can get others hurt as well as themselves. So to like kind of go back to the other side now, there's an issue that driver's ed does have, and this site Reuters.com, they say most studies have not shown that driver education programs actually result in fewer crashes. So most studies are not showing that it's helping crashes or people not to crash, but there are efforts to update these programs, is what they're saying, so that they're more effective at improving the safetiness or getting the word or the knowledge out to students. So though driver's education is not perfect, we kind of started taking it away. We took driver's education away, so now we're having to, we're kind of working on the back burner to make driver's education better. That's what they're doing. So if we were to put driver's education back in the school systems, we would obviously put more effort into making it a better and more useful program. And I think no matter what, it's still a very important thing to learn because of all these other things. So what's left? Well, like I said, I would like everybody to come to like the same conclusion that I came to, that driver's education is not necessarily only important, it's a necessity, because teens are dying because they don't have the knowledge or they don't want the knowledge. So by forcing this course, you're going to give them the knowledge that whenever they come into a circumstance, that they will have it on moment's notice. So thank you for your time.